Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on a scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Real Salt Lake still looking for that first win since the World Cup, but they do come home from St. Louis with a point, a place they've never lost. The game finishes 1-1, both teams scoring a goal in the second half. The first half, I mean, honestly, that's why people find soccer boring. That first half, they just did a lot of defending and just held on, and somehow it was scoreless at halftime, but that was ugly. But, they're missing half of their field players. They're 5 of the 10. No Gozo. He's got a hip strain. It's not clear how long he's out for. Justin Glad is apparently out for another month, probably longer than that. So they're missing some important players. Those aren't the only guys they're missing, but those are probably two biggest stars. Morgan Giavogi was suspended, so he was unable to play. But they found a way to get a point, so there was at least that. Here's Pablo Mastroeni after the game in St. Louis ends 1-1.
Talked a lot about patience and trusting the structure. For the beginning of the match up until the goal, did it feel like you were making definitive progress in that?
Against the ball, and obviously I think they have a lot of different rotations. So defensively, I thought we were, again, didn't give too much up in the first half. Where we struggled was when we won the ball back. And our attacking transition didn't give us respite, didn't allow us to get in our attacking structure well enough. And so I think that was really what built a lot of momentum for St. Louis in the first half. In the second half, there were some good spells of possession, creating some good chances on goal, and obviously we nicked the goal. So, to be up 1-0 here, I think showed a lot of patience from the guys defensively, and then waiting for that opportunity. And Serge took it really, really well, and I think Saba coming in the game really helped that perspective. But yeah, again, I think, I've come on here, against LAFC, and I said, listen, we played great. At the end of the day, we didn't get a result, right? And so I think the most important thing for this group in this stretch of games is to come away with something. It looked like we were going to maybe nick 3, and it wasn't the prettiest game, but it was a different group that I saw today. It was a group that was willing to suffer without the ball, and I think that speaks volumes of our growth as a team. Where oftentimes you had 3 guys standing up front waiting for the ball. Everyone committed, from the guys up front to the guys in the back, and Hoffa to defending our goal. And so I think, obviously, we don't want every game to look like this, but there's going to be moments in every game that is going to feel like this, and we've got to be willing to stick together in those moments to defend against great teams in this league.
You said it there that the team looked comfortable and willing to suffer. Mm-hmm. And especially in that first 70 minutes, one of the things that we have also been talking about is people going rogue on the press. Mm-hmm. Was this the most cohesive you've seen your press in the way you want it?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think obviously we'd like to be a little bit more aggressive. And sometimes when you talk about being more patient to press, oftentimes the psyche says, okay, we're just going to sit in a block, right? And we're not going to run out. And so I think there's moments where we can be more aggressive, and there's moments where we're a bit too passive. But anytime you try to implement something new, there's always going to be a change one way or the other. And today was a bit passive. But again, I thought for the most part, the guys did a great job of, denying central penetration with a team that thrives on it. We defended set pieces the best we have all year. We gave up a lot of, corners and wide free kicks, and the guys did that. And that's been a big focus. So when I think big picture, I think today the takeaways are a team that's willing to come together when the game is tough and not just expect 7 guys back there to do the job. And then the other part too is defending set pieces, real clarity in how we want to do it, and a real commitment from the guys to get it done.
Interesting. I hate to ask this, but then does this feel like a point gained or 3 draw?
Well, again, it's football, we had again, from a game plan perspective, 70 minutes in, being up 1-0 is is the ideal tactical scheme, the ideal situation. But like I told the guys, when you want to be brave, you're going to make mistakes, and so that's a part of the game. So I think it's a good opportunity to really reflect on these three games, and one obviously in LAFC we had 80% of the ball and we had 30 shots and we lost 3-1. Tonight we had 35% possession and we got a point. And so the game is not about always playing the way you want. There's an opponent that is riding a lot of momentum. We're away from home. And so when you factor all these things in, like I said, the positives from this game is a group that was willing to suffer when we weren't at our best with the ball, and the set piece defending, which is something that we've been really harping on as a group, and the guys came up trumps tonight.
Last one for me. Can you give us any update on Griff?
Yeah, Griff fractured his fifth metatarsal. So it looks like it's more likely going to have surgery to repair it. They'll do an exam, but poor kid. Yeah.
Is he going to be able to fly with that?
That's a great question.
Sorry,
now you're getting real medical.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
DJ, go ahead.
Pablo, there were a lot of players who got either a first look or a rare look or a first start. Some of the guys who don't normally get those roles. What did you think about the way they performed?
Yeah, DJ, it was always going to be tough. I think not having Gozo against a team that plays man-to-man, missed his speed up top. And, Morgan, not having him, who's a guy that I think can actually hold the ball up in very difficult situations to bring the midfield into the game. So it was always going to be a tough slog. And what I liked, Lineker, you were throwing him in the deep end a little bit. Obviously we'd like to bring him in and give him minutes when the game's a bit tired, but I thought he did a good job. And again, it was a game where we didn't have a lot of control, but he grafted and he fought and he competed, and I think that's a great takeaway from his performance. I thought Zach Booth was excellent on both sides of the ball. He continues to impress in that position where he's a real attacking threat, but also disciplined defensively. Sam Junko for me was, and Phil, all the guys in the back line, but Sam not playing in quite some time, I think had a top performance, in particular against the ball with the way they were rotating players and then Sabo coming into the game, I thought he changed the game for us and was able to, find moments in transition, obviously help create the goal that Sergi scored. So it was obviously a couple of important players missing, but the guys that stepped in, I think, did a good job. And again, this team at home is one of the best in the league at the moment. So with that in mind, I thought the guys did a great job.
Given how poor the road results have been this season, one win in Atlanta, how big do you think it was to get a point on the road anytime, anywhere against anybody?
Yeah, it's in particular from a 3-game road swing. It's so interesting because we can talk about performances and those give you fuzzy feelings. The game against LAFC, guys, we played great, right? And you go to Portland and for the first 30 minutes, you guys played great. At some point that doesn't matter anymore, and you need to see fruits of your labor, and that's why I think the suffering tonight says a lot about the character of the guys in the team. And we don't want the games to look like this, but tonight the game demanded it, and the guys stepped up. And this point is more than one. It's probably 2.5, 3. From a psyche perspective, it's critical to get results, to continue momentum and building for the second part of the season.
Looking ahead to Leagues Cup, the games are coming fast and furious. How many of the guys are built to play this, and how much deeper do you have to go in the roster?
Yeah, we're going to have to go deep, DJ. Obviously now with Griff out, it's going to really put, you look at Noel and, he's running on fumes after the last 3 games. He's been covering a ton of ground. Steiny, we were trying to preserve him as long as we could, but he came in and did a great job. And so it's going to be a balance because we want to put a great group out there. But the truth is, these guys are, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there's an injury risk to all these players. And so I think my challenge is how do we sprinkle in guys that maybe haven't played a whole lot and protect them with experience on either side or in front and behind them to make sure that we have a competitive team. But I think this is always the difficult with these tournaments midseason, especially at this point in the season where the guys have logged a lot of minutes. So, and again, Serge, I didn't want him to go as long as he did, but again, we're trying to win. We're trying to win the game, and so it's a balancing act. We're going to meet with the performance crew on the flight home and make sure that we put everyone in the best position, cognizant of the injury risk, and as well, how can we put our best group out in the field to beat a very good Mexican side.
Is Gozo going to be ready to go for the next game, or is this a little longer?
That's a great question. That question is yet to be answered, and I don't have an answer for you. It's been. We'll see how he is when we get back tomorrow. The expectation is that he trains, or not trains, but does a bit of rehab off to the side, and then it's we'll go from there. But yeah, it's we'll get Morgan back. That's positive. But now I think we're gonna have to find some depth in the middle midfield. Zach did a great job out wide. Dom can spell him. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but I think we have a group that can compete in this. And I think the magic's going to be in trying to make sure we protect those players that are going to be new into the group or haven't played or who's played limited minutes.
Did you see enough from Lineker to go back to him?
Again, I don't think it was a fair game to assess what he can bring because the game was chaotic. And if you look at that first half with the ball, there wasn't too many performances that were really good because in these kind of games, when you're sitting in a block, the most important pass is the first one after transition. And if you can play a first ball forward, you break their press. What they did a good job of is when we won the ball because we were defending a lot, if you go sideways or backwards, you invite their press. If we can find a forward pass, set it to a free man and open the ball up, now they're starting to question their repress, and now we have a little bit more of the ball, but it just felt like every time we got out, we just kind of gave it right back to them. So from that perspective, Lineker's a very good player. He's a really good box player, and we just didn't have enough actions to assess him from an attacking perspective. But like I said, I think his grit and the way he competed was top.
Did you change anything halftime, or is it really Saba's skill set fit exactly what you needed to get a little more possession going in the second half?
Yeah, it's more Saba, and we just what we wanted to do is make sure that we had, because they were rotating so many players, they were overloading our wide areas with a ton of players, and so just making sure that instead of defending with a front three, we're defending with a front two and basically pulling Saba a little bit deeper to deal with the rotations in the wide areas, and I thought he did a good job. But when you talk about making plays, he got out a couple times, and again, it's his individual quality that got us through.
There's RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni. When we come back, college football with Weber State coach Eric Kjar. Stay with us.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on the scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Joining us now is the Weber State's head football coach. They have begun play as far as getting ready for the season, which opens August 28th, Northern Colorado. That's like 4 weeks from today. And Eric Kjar, coach, good morning. 4 weeks from today. Are you ready?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. We're 3 days in. We got a little more work to do, but the guys are excited. It's getting to be that time of year, so it's fun.
We got Riley Jensen sitting in. And before we get into your team, because DJ's off today, Riley, he was going glory days the other day. He's telling us about when you were first over there at corner and you're getting the program going, and he had some tackle-eligible play.
No,
and
he wasn't
got you. Oh, he wasn't even there yet.
No,
oh, well, that's why. Because Kjar wasn't there.
No,
he would have come back and kicked your butt.
I never beat Eric. He did come back. We had a game his first year.
That'll wait, PK.
What's that?
I said I was telling PK that away.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, Eric, don't side with PK. I'm so sideways with him right now, I can't even see straight. This guy's killing me.
Shoot.
This guy's killing me. But
He's usually like that, I think. I think that's kind of what he usually rolls with. I think that's the norm with PK.
Oh, I think so.
He came in here and he knows me. Hey, Coach, if you pet a snake and the snake bites you, whose fault is it?
That's right. It's
You
like
knew
that
what
old,
I was when you picked me up.
When you picked me up. PK's the snake. Yeah,
Exactly.
I prefer to call him Scar, Lion King reference, but, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing, no doubt.
No, I never beat Eric. The first time that I got to compete against Eric was his first year at Corner Canyon. We had him on the ropes. I thought we had him. They came back with Zach Wilson. They beat us. Huge comeback.
He's just like Michael Jordan. He lets you think you can
just
win.
Typical Eric Kjar. He goes in, makes a halftime adjustment. Yeah, we're gonna win. Nice job, Riley. Nice try. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, it was those were good battles. Especially, I think we had two of them, and then I think we stopped playing, and I think you might even left.
I had left. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hey, you were a pedestrian 181 and 39 at Corner Canyon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's some of I think that's some of the Jordan. Years too.
That's the Jordan
right.
stuff.
That was like
I think
20,
it was like 110 and 10
that
at
was
corner.
Like 29 of the losses.
And most of the losses were from out of state. Those academy type programs, if I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but what I
those
wanted
were always good for us to play.
What I wanted to ask you in all seriousness, Eric, is and I was joking about pedestrian, is that you've built a winning culture at Jordan High School. Clearly, what you did at Corner Canyon High School is unbelievable. Now that you've had a little bit of time at Weber State, what do you think is a common denominator about building a winning culture that you found translates directly to the college level?
I think a lot of it is like how your day-to-day interactions with your team, from a staff, but also them with each other too, and what that looks like as far as pushing each other, holding each other accountable, but also loving each other up in all the different facets of football. Weight room wise, that happens quite a bit out on the field, but also just in general, like when we get opportunities to learn more about each other and kind of learn about each other's backgrounds, and then also, show that we care about each other besides just as football players or coaches. I think that's kind of what you are looking for. And we try to have a lot of fun too. I think a lot of time you got to enjoy this process. Gets pretty tough and long, and there's a lot of grind into it, as you guys know. You have to enjoy it, and you got to create an environment where they like showing up to work hard and be a part of that grind.
How do you blend? I think you got like almost 70 new players on the roster from even you got I don't know how many you would know from where you were to spring to now. How do you get everybody to come together like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of it, just trying to be around them as much as we can. I think we've done a good job of really participating and being around our players as much as you can, through like some of the strength conditioning stuff and being able to generate some commonality there with them. But also it's kind of nice that they are all new. It's kind of a blank slate. You kind of get to introduce your culture, what you're like, who you are, and what you expect of them. And they're all kind of headed in the same direction versus maybe, habits that they've had previously. It's kind of, they've came in with a blank slate, and same with us, and trying to just really get everybody moving in the same direction with the similar plans. Been a little bit easier, I think, because of that. As
you're moving into your first season with Weber State, obviously you brought in Devin Brown, and he's one of the long line of Corner Canyon quarterbacks that that you coached at Corner Canyon, he's probably the one I know the least about, and that I've heard the least about. Obviously, Jackson Dart, Zach Wilson. There's been a lot of really good quarterbacks there. Tell us what helps him to stand out. Tell him what you tell our listeners a little bit about him. Like, what is he like? What does he bring to the table?
He does a good job of like taking a business-like approach to that position, and he has a lot of fun. Like he's messing with our guys. Like he told Tate, one of our receivers, who's my son, that he looks like a Pez dispenser with his helmet on yesterday, which was pretty funny.
I know you like that one.
And his helmet's all big. It was funny. I was dying. But just stuff like he's good with that stuff too. Like just being one of the guys also and blending in with them, but also when he goes into meetings and all that kind of stuff, he's all business and he's a high achiever. He holds himself to a high standard, as most quarterbacks do, and sometimes that can be his own worst enemy. It's a good thing too, but sometimes just getting him to relax and play and not be too tough on himself with some of the things that we're doing. He's extremely gifted, especially arm talent wise. He's got a super strong arm, can make all the throws, and has played at a high level at different places. So he brings that experience into it as well.
Weber State coach Eric Kjar. Weber State coach Eric Kjar joining us. So he's a fifth-year senior, I believe, if I remember correctly, just doing the math. And then you got somebody like on the back end, on defense, Trevian Tribble, who's also a fifth-year senior. Are those some of the guys that you're looking forward to develop leadership? Because we know how important team-led leadership teams are.
Yeah, for sure. Trib's done a great job this offseason. Being a part of our leadership council, but then also, just setting the example and working hard and encouraging guys and doing even just little things, cleaning up, after we eat team meals, if something gets overlooked or pushing in chairs and thanking people that help us. Like, he's just special that way, and he's done a great job. And the way he's handled it and conducts himself around our guys has been really special and really what leadership's about. And he continues to emerge there, which has been great by Trib.
You said that he's really good with the guys. He's making fun of Tate. Did Tate and Noah make fun of him for wearing number 33? I mean, what's going on in the state of Utah? We got a number 47 quarterback. We got a number 33 quarterback. Do they tease him about that at least?
So they do. I mean, and some other stuff that I can't even talk about on here. It gets because Tate's known him for a long time. Noah doesn't know him as good, but Tate played with him when he was at corner, so it's funny.
Yeah, no.
But the 33 comes from I think he was a linebacker before he ever played quarterback. These
guys are killing me. These guys are killing me.
I can't remember. Was it Sammy Baugh? It's an old school.
I think Sammy Baugh might have been 33.
Yeah, and I think that's why he just kind of Sammy Baugh was a quarterback too. I'll just hang on to it. So, because his dad's pretty well versed in history of just football in general, and I'm sure he knew that. So Devin's I'll just keep it. Yeah,
Sammy Baugh, just looked it up, number 33.
Oh, nice, nice call.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you were at the high school level, a lot of the teams you played, and you played them repeatedly, and you knew a lot of the personnel and all that. Now you got a new coaching staff, and, I mean, you've never played Northern Colorado, Southern Utah, and then in Colorado, your first 3 games on the road, by the way. In Greeley, you make 2 trips to Colorado right off the bat. Greeley on the 28th of August, then down to Cedar the next week, and then over to Boulder to play the Buffaloes. How have you been able to try to get up to speed with your opponents? Is that something you'll get to when the games start?
Yeah, and a lot of that we did in the summer too. We spent some time just prepping in general, not getting down to it, but doing some film study and some tagging of clips and plays and just getting a good understanding of kind of what's coming up ahead of us. It's pretty easy to get film on about anybody today. That's why I always laugh that everybody thinks there's a bunch of secrets in football. But yeah. I mean, we've started that process, in general already, and I think that's going to be something that'll continue to help us just being around in us, this staff, knowing opponents a little better and better as we go along over the years. But I think football for the most part, is pretty consistent in different schemes that everybody likes to try to run. Now, obviously, some of them run them a lot better, and then, you know, you look at the talent, the physicality, and some of the things, and calling plays in certain situations that make them a little bit more effective factors into that. I think that's going to be something that we'll have to get more of a feel for, but it's exciting. That part's kind of the fun part of football, I think, too. I would say Riley would kind of say the same thing, too. The game planning prior to and going into stuff and get an idea of what you're going to do and how you're going to attack is a really fun part of football.
Well, I think that's what separates you from all the other good coaches that I know is just the play calling. And I don't think people understand what an art it is and how good you were at the timeliness of your calls. It's not always about what plays you have. It's like when you call them. If you could outline just one thing that was the most surprising about like coaching college football so far, and then the one thing that surprised you the most about Weber State.
Oh man, that's a good one. Probably the biggest surprise so far has been the recruiting aspect and like just how it's a challenge in general. And I think it's gotten obviously a little bit tougher over the years now with some NIL and rev share and that kind of stuff, and really kind of what kids are about, what's important to them, and trying to find that and find guys that's going to match up with what you want in your program. I would say that's probably been the biggest thing so far. And then what was the other one? I'm trying to remember.
The biggest surprise about Weber. About Weber State itself. Yeah,
the thing I love about Weber is just, I think the community up here in general, not only just on campus with the, you know, professors and administrators and staff, they're just awesome and welcoming and super kind. And that's maybe because I haven't, you know, coached any games yet and lost games or anything yet. So maybe that's a little bit why they're kind of nice. But even the community up here in Ogden has been great, super welcoming and just all about trying to help and you know, get things going in the right direction. It's been pretty amazing and great support up here all the way across the board. So that's been really, really, you know, refreshing to come in and have that environment.
Weber State coach Eric Kjar joining us for a few more minutes. You know, I sat in the stands for so many of your games over the last decade. And
you were like yelling stuff out. I've heard some of those before. They're like, you should have heard what PK was saying up in the stands about
this
you
guy,
while you were coaching.
Unhinged.
It's unbelievable. Scar's a good nickname for him.
I'd always try to guess your play calls, particularly in the second half, and Riley spoke to that. I can remember a game at Rice Eccles. I think it was against Lone Peak. And I was on the sidelines, and I was creeping towards you in the first half because you were bugging me. But then you went in at halftime, and you made a bunch of adjustments, and you won the game. So I let you go. And I always enjoyed trying to guess what you were going to do as the game progressed. And I mean, I got like 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge that you guys have. I'm not going to kid anybody here, but it was always fun to try to see. Especially at Rice Eccles, where sometimes I'd go up in a press box where you can see even better, and to see what you try to get in your mind to see what you were thinking. And there was one time you guys were, I don't want to name the school because I don't want to embarrass them, but you're kicking the crap out of them with this halftime hadn't even evolved, and you got the ball like with 2+ minutes to go, and it was clear and it was early in the season too, and you were trying to work a 2-minute offense, and one of your guys, you threw a pass wherever on the side, and instead of going out, he cuts in, and you call timeout. And you lay into the guys that
Eric did.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that.
That's rare. That's rare.
You lay into the guys. We're running a 2-minute drill, and those 3 yards, they're not as important as you getting out of bounds and preserving the timeouts, right? And so you tell them that, and then I think it was maybe the next play, maybe it was a play or two after. another kid does the exact same thing, and you call a timeout again, and I thought your head was going to explode at that point, man. Your face got red. I was worried. I had my finger on the phone. I had already dialed 9-1, and I hadn't hit the third one yet.
Especially as I get in age, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
And so you lit into the guys, and they all responded. I mean, they look at you like the ultimate figure, right? Because you're that much older than these high school kids, and you had them completely captivated. And generally speaking, from talking to assistants and administrators, I've been around the program a little bit from a distance because of the family situation. Yeah. I'm wondering, how is that going to be now at the college level? Because these guys are older. They've been around a little bit. How are you going to be able to treat them and coach them up in a manner that you did? Would it we have to use some finesse? Just take us through that, how you intend to do that.
I think a lot of it is just being yourself sometimes too. And I think, handling that, and I've been told by players that I've gotten softer as I've gotten older. I don't see it quite as much that I have, but I'll have former players come back and they're like, man, if I would have done that, they're just like, and that's not even up here. That was at Corner Canyon. But I think there always is a standard that you want to approach of what you expect with your players. And sometimes I think holding them to that can look a little bit differently, for one situation versus another. And I'm not saying even the player, but having them understanding that and making sure you reinforce that, continually without missing those opportunities, I think is really what matters. And we'll continue to do that here. I don't know that I'll always be quite as animated as I have been in the past, but I'm sure, emotions, who knows, I'll probably get there a few times, definitely. And our players have kind of had a few of those moments where they've seen me like that a little bit. And I think that's kind of been good for them a little too, because, they've even spoken about, just the importance of how they've appreciated being held accountable more, and having a standard that, I expect them to play at, and they've appreciated that. So I think sometimes being authentic really is maybe more important than trying to be too calculated with especially that part of it.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you giving us time this morning. I know you got to get out to the practice field. 4 weeks to go, man. Greeley, Colorado.
Excited. Heck yeah.
Yeah, we'll be following it. Good luck, Coach.
Riley, keep an eye on him, man.
Dude,
good luck.
Dude, I'm so glad I'm done this week. I'm done.
Oh, my. Man, DJ's leaving you hanging.
I'll see you next week. I'll see you next week, Eric.
Thanks, Riley.
All right,
appreciate you.
There's Weber State coach Eric Kjar. When we come back, PK and I looking at college football schedules. Stay with us. DJ and PK brought to you in part by Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest, and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on a scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. College football on the horizon. PK, you're going to let me – I can't believe you want to do this. It's one of my favorite things. You're letting me play.
You're welcome.
Here's all the Tonka trucks in a big sandbox. Let's go.
I mean, I'm a magnanimous guy.
You really are.
I don't even know what that word means.
We're talking schedules. I think you do. We're talking schedules. What are they looking at? PK wants to circle some big games. You are the rare guy. You will plan out your day. Your Saturday is planned out on Tuesday or Wednesday. This is when the team. So you have these 6-day windows now. So sometimes it's Monday before you or Sunday before you find out when you're actually going to play. All right, I'm going to the gym here because I got to watch this game at that time and then this game at that time.
Yeah.
We got the Utes and the Cougars schedules. You want to go through here big games because I don't want to say it's Mountain West-ish, but there's definitely haves and have-nots. And in the Mountain West in the latter days, it was just BYU, Utah, and TCU. It's not that, But there are a lot of games that don't look like they measure up. There are a lot of games that looks like the Utes and Cougars are going to win. But there's some big ones that can be circled. We're not at the point where it's a 2 or 3 game season, which is what it was back in the day.
I think that
we had 4, 5, or 6 game seasons.
The
though.
first game, it seems to me that can be a little bit of an inclination of how the season goes. Right? They played Portland State last year in the first game. They beat them 69-0. Well, we remember when they played Portland a while back in that 4-9 season, and they struggled like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dillingham's first game was against Southern Utah at ASU, and it took a lot to beat Southern Utah. Well, they sucked that year.
Right.
They only won 2 more games. So even though you're going to win that game, I do
Style
think
points matter, right?
I think it doesn't. It matters in terms of how we're going to judge this team. You should blow out Utah Tech.
Well, it sets our expectations.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you win by 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, whatever, depending on when you decide to put the backups in. But if it looks easy, then you think, okay, they got a good team. We know what to expect.
Yeah.
And if it looks like heavy lifting, and it's a 2-score game in the middle of the fourth quarter.
And the coaches know it. The kids know it.
Yeah.
Fans are feeling uneasy in the stands. So I suspect they'll beat Utah Tech and beat them.
So you don't want to establish Utah Tech as a big game just because it's going to set the tone?
No, but it is a little – it's not a complete blow-off either.
Telltale game.
It can be, yes. Yeah. But obviously the September 12th, I've been talking about it for weeks. And I'm really looking forward to being
Arizona's a big game.
It's huge.
They won a lot of games last year, and they got their QB back.
You want to, as far as a tone setter in the conference, that's gigantic because you can't let the Cats come in here and get a road victory against a team that most folks are picking to make the conference final. First or second, doesn't really matter. So that's a huge game. And talking to Fafita down in Dallas a couple weeks back, he's saying, man, we got that game circled because we let that thing slip away last year. There's no way we should have lost that game, blah, blah, blah. And he did say, hey, but they earned it. And so Fafita's got a bunch of family that live up here and all that. He's going to be on his game right off the bat. So that
I definitely
that
have
game
that
is gigantic.
If we're looking for top 5 games out of the schedule, I definitely have that Arizona Conference Opener Week 2 as a top 5 game without
no question.
The thing I like about BYU's schedule here is that the games I've identified as the top 5 games, they don't have back-to-back. They don't have back-to-back road games. They have back-to-back road games, but they don't fall in back-to-back weeks. They get a bye week between CSU and TCU weeks 3 and 4, and I would identify that game at TCU.
TCU's gigantic.
Absolutely believe that.
TCU is always going to be one of these teams. Sometimes they're going to be great, but they're going to be dangerous. Sonny Dykes is a brilliant offensive mind, and that game, that's a huge game. I mean, they go to Colorado State for some reason I don't understand, but obviously that's not a conference game.
Because that's the recipe. The recipe is you play a Big Sky team, you play a Mountain West
but you don't play a
Pac-12
Mountain
team.
West away.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of those are like no money games. It's got to be home and home. So why CSU? Find somewhere you recruit or
I don't
know.
I don't understand why you would play that game there. Play them here all you want, but not there. But then TCU, that's really, really big. Absolutely. That deserves on that list.
BYU's games, to me, fall every other game. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. Don't go.
We appreciate
I knew you'd do that. Don't do that. No, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 are their 5 big games. Arizona, game 2, big game. At TCU, game 4, big game. TCU is their best road trip because although Utah's a road game, I don't think of it as a road trip. You're just getting on a bus and going 45 minutes.
It's not a traditional road game.
Yeah. Notre Dame, game 6, obviously massive. I mean, that's the best non-conference game in the entire Big 12 conference right there. ASU on Halloween. I'm torn about
spooky.
I'm torn about that game. I'm putting in the top 5. Obviously, Utah, November 7. I think those are my 5 games. And if I'm going to swap them out, if I'm wrong, ASU at home October 31, maybe that should be out. And at Kansas on the 21st should be in. You know, ASU has a lot of people to replace, as you pointed out. And if it doesn't quite come together, I don't like ASU having to be at Texas A&M and then go overseas week 3. You know, if they get off to a bad start, if it's not clicking and they get buried, I could see that's the scenario where the season gets away.
Sure.
I also think Dillingham's a good coach, and they'll ride that out. And that maybe
they could be playing good ball by then.
I know, yeah, and that's why I'm putting it in as a top 5 game. I don't see how you can debate Notre Dame and Utah. Those are the 2 biggest games, and we both agreed on Arizona and TCU.
I'm surprised you hadn't gone your travel to time zone thing because I think UCF is very dangerous.
I can see that. I also...
And there's a letdown after
that is exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. The thing about the UCF game is the letdown. I just don't know if they have the talent to do it. They've really been struggling. If you remember the Utes, when they're struggling at quarterback, they've had the multiple QB injuries, and they lost 7 games in a row, the Utes still went there and won. And UCF was just such a mess. But... traveling 2 time zones the week after most of the game with Notre Dame, if UCF, under theory, gives somebody time to build it up.
Well, they got Barnett coming in, the James Madison transfer, with all sorts of experience. And so that is something to be worried about. I think UCF, to me, is a little like the Devils in terms of they're going to seem to always have skill players. Guys who can make plays. Are they good enough in the interior remains to be seen. But a lot of folks, when you're asked, who's a sleeper team down in Dallas, they're talking about UCF. They didn't finish well. I mean, they started with 3 wins, and they only won 5. And the conference win, one of them was a 3-pointer over Oklahoma State.
Who's terrible.
And so they lost 4 of their last 5 with only a 3-point win at home against Oklahoma State. And then BYU came out here and hammered it pretty good. But they're going to have a ton of transfers. And you're traveling across the country.
And Frost is in his 2nd year, and maybe that's a lot different than
the 4th.
Is it really?
Scott Frost,
because Gus Malzahn was there. Frost. See, I think with Frost in his 4th, are they counting that he did 2 and now he's back for 2? See, I think that's why they're calling it his 4th. Because Malzahn was there when they came into the Big 12, unless I'm up in the night. But I think he was there both before and after that. I thought Malzahn did 4 years. Frost is in his 4th year, but only his 2nd consecutively.
Right.
So I think as far as building the roster, the reason I didn't put that as a top 5 game is they just have not measured up. They've had good teams there, but they have not measured up in the Big 12 era. You're big on, well, first off, they haven't had a winning season. They've only been bowl eligible once. They finished 6-7 when they lost the bowl game. And their league record has been 3-6, 2-7, 2-7.
Yeah.
So that's why I left it out of the top 5.
But, I mean, it's traveling across the country.
I got you on the travel, and I got you on the letdown after Notre Dame. And those are real things. And if he has brought in more trouble or more talent, they could cause some trouble. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm also with you on the line of scrimmage. If BYU is as good at the line of scrimmage as we're being led to believe, that does help avoid the upsets because they can just wear you out. And that's why I went to, because as you always looking at, it's the week before Utah. Are you looking past it? How much hype is there for the BYU Utah game?
I would agree with you.
But Kansas, super late in the year. Who's healthy? You're traveling in that game.
It's over there, yeah.
Right. So that's why if I'm wrong about ASU, it's Kansas. Okay. All right. Now to the Utes. I have a different problem with the Utes schedule here. The Utes. They do not have their big games spread out. Their big games, I think, are stacked in November. Their November is, look out, BYU, Arizona, TCU 3 weeks in a row. BYU at home, at Arizona, at TCU. No bye week for a breather, none of that. That is just, wow. So to me, those 3, especially because they come one right after another, those are the 3 toughest games. And when I was trying to figure out, okay, the other top 5, I defaulted to Houston at home October 24th, mostly because
we got to have 5 games if we're going to say the 5
I think they got
games.
this.
Yeah.
The 5th one's hard to – and the thing about it is a lot of these teams have been down, so who's really hitting the transfer portal, and we're just not dialed in enough to know, right? Maybe it's Arkansas or Kansas at home. Maybe it's going to Iowa State, but they lost so many guys with a coaching transition. Is it at Cincinnati on Halloween? Is that spooky? What's the 5th one? What do you got? West Virginia letdown just because you're beat up the home game on Friday on a short week.
I think you got to go with the Vandals.
You do not. You're not going to Idaho. You want to go Utah State? The emotion in the game, and they're all sorts of fired up. No. I don't know where you're going. I've listed everybody, PK. I didn't say Colorado.
The Big 12 title game. Colorado's been talking up a game.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Their coordinator who was at Texas for a time, he said that he believes their offensive line is better than anything he had at Texas. And Dion saying, we've got all the parts, now we're going to show you. Now, I don't know if it's bravado or what. They do get a lot of new players again. But they had some talent, like that Seton, that big offensive lineman who was a 5-star, went down to LSU. Receivers, the Devils plucked their best receiver out, and they're hoping it's a Jordan Tyson thing because Tyson had transferred from Colorado. So they lost some talent too. I think Colorado will be better. But I'm not so sure that they're going to be bowl eligible.
Okay.
So
you agree with
I can't go
You
there.
agree with me on the big three November 7, 14, and 21. Home to BYU, at Arizona, at TCU. Those are definitely top 5 games for the Utes. Do you agree? Now, I think I'm higher on Houston than you, but I think Houston's got to be game 4 as we sit here.
Well,
right
if you
now.
look at it in relative to these games, yeah.
Houston's 4. And who's 5?
I'd go Kansas right now.
Okay.
But West Virginia, I want to see what Rich Rod does too.
Kansas was a good game at Kansas last year. I mean, the Utes won it. They broke it open late, I think.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
So that could be it. They build on it, sure.
But they have an easier schedule and a more favorable schedule, except for November. Yeah, November. That's got to rank. I haven't doped out everybody's November schedule, but that 3-game run, I should say.
Okay.
7, 14, 21.
Give me a percentage chance that the Utes start 6-0. I mean, anything can happen in any one game.
I would say high 60s.
Okay.
I think they should. I see no reason why they don't. And by that time, they roll into November thinking they're all that.
4 of the first 5 are at home.
Yeah.
And then at Colorado is game 6. So 6-0 when Houston comes to town?
I would think so.
Yeah. Man, Cincinnati is game 8. And Cincinnati, I don't know how good they're going to be, but they ought to be up. They got humiliated by Utah. I don't know how many guys they have back. I shouldn't even say that with the transfer portal. How many guys? But the guys who were there last year for that, it's like, I know you're not big on payback games, but PK.
Well, that was a beatdown.
That was a thumping.
Oh, yeah, that's why Utah had a very good team.
Yeah, they'll also have a lot of new guys who don't know anything about it and don't care.
Utah.
So what are the odds if it's high 60s, which I could see? Totally agree. 6. I mean, anything can happen in any one game, and you got injuries. So you can't get too carried away here. But on paper, they're going to be favored one week after another.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what are the odds? They're 8-0 for the BYU game. 8-0 going into November with a brand new coach.
Well,
new head coach.
I mean, not totally brand new.
Okay, he's in the program. I get it. But he's head coach for the first time.
Yeah.
And we have all these first-time head coaches saying, wow, it's different.
Right, but I think the lack of big dogs that they play and the talent that they have should take care of any growing pains that Morgan Scalley needs to endure. And I don't know how many growing pains he needs to endure. We'll see. It is his first time. But, yeah, I would say probably, 65 because something could go wrong. The ball doesn't bounce. Every game doesn't turn out like it's supposed to.
Yep, totally agree. And we haven't even begun to factor in injuries yet, and you never know. D-line, O-line, whatever.
And they're going to have them. Everybody does.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I think there's a decent chance. At worst, 2 losses. I would probably go 1 just for the sake of things happen.
Random.
But undefeated for the first 2 months is not out of the realm, and it sets up an incredible game at home against BYU on the 7th. I would be stunned and hugely impressed if BYU goes into that game undefeated.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.